NFL Draft Bible on location.
You know, he's a dynamic young player, and as a rookie, he got better and better. If we can just get him up to about 165, you know, I think we can get on the field a little bit more, but he is fast. Oh God, that's the $1 million question. You know, when you're dealing with these guys and evaluating the two muscles you can't evaluate, the brain and the heart. You know, and they're the two you play with. So you try to get to know them as well as you can. You go back and try to get into a huddle with them as many times as you can and see. You can evaluate how much they know, but you can't evaluate how they process it in 30 seconds or less. And that's how you play the game. So much of it's still a crapshoot. You know, if you can analyze those two things, you can make millions of dollars. I know, I've just been lucky. I've been lucky to be around some really good ones. Hell, everybody's significantly younger than me, but no, he's great. I mean, it's fantastic. You know, we grew up about 10 miles apart, same values. And, he's a great evaluator of players. And as a coach, you have to trust that position that they're going to give you the best players available at the right price. And no one does a better job, in my opinion, than Steve Kahn. Do they dominate? Because they need to dominate at that level. They can't just be a good player at that level. They have to dominate the competition, and they have to have a swagger about them to be able to come into a locker room of SEC guys and other guys with a chip on their shoulder. You want that chip on their shoulder because that's usually the thing that gets them through. They're trying to prove it every single day, and some of them keep it for 5 or 6 years, and that's how they make it. Well, you know, this word GOAT got popular real soon, and to me he is. Having worked with him early in the years when he was struggling was fun. You know, to watch him persevere through those early years of 3-13 and, you know, 15 interceptions in the first 8 games or whatever. And then just watch him grow and take off and become the player he's become. I think he's arguably the best that's ever played. Oh yeah, you know, ever since Temple, whatever that was, 30-some years ago, you know, watching him grow as a coach was fun. It really was. And then to be able to have him on the staff and do what he did, right? And sometimes you need his opportunity. And his was just waiting for the right opportunity. Miami screwed it up a long time ago. He should have been the head coach there, was the interim head coach. And but brilliant young man, and he's a great teacher. And it's not what you know, can you teach it? And he can teach it. Yeah, a couple times. Mom's doing good, the baby's doing good, and his golf game sucks. And that's because he didn't play for a year. You know, he was bound and determined he wasn't going to play golf till after the season, and he's paying for it right now. He's losing every bet. If we're all going to get nitpicked for what we did in college, we're all in trouble. You know, we all did things in college when we were growing. This was just a bigger story now, I think because of who he is and what he just did, not what happened back then. So to me, it's sensationalism, somebody trying to get their name out there and use him for a stepping stone. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, the hardest thing So many of those guys never get in the three-point stance. You're drafting a guy right now coming out of some colleges that's never been in a three-point stance, either high school or pros, and you're going to pay him a ton of money. And you're going to teach him to get in a three-point stance and run block. I mean, it's fundamentals that we're going back now and have to teach that we never had to teach before. Great athletes are much, much better, but the fundamentals are worse than they've ever been. Yeah, just the experience, you know, having failed. Last year, the knee was the driving force. This year, he's already working like crazy because of the way it ended. And that's what you want. You want your guys back, and when he's back working like that, the rest of them will be back working like that. And as a coach, you don't have to say anything, you know. Let's just get going again and see if we can reach that pinnacle again and play better. I can't say after 1 year's work that he is one of the best, but he's got a chance to be one of the all-time best. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's looking for a Heath Miller, the all-around traditional tight end that can block, can catch. But Heath Miller was more than a football player. He was a great teammate and even better man. I mean, the Steelers were so lucky to have had him for those years in their locker room because he's truly the glue of that organization. And you can't say enough things about the person. The play, you see the play, you know he's a great player, but the person was even better. Every player. Well, yeah, you're still drafting him like we did. We drafted DJ last year, #1, knowing that we were going to redshirt him because we had so much to teach him. If we threw him out there, he was going to fail. And once they fail, it's hard to get those scars off. So, you know, he didn't dress a game purposely just to get better and better and better. And going against guys like Dwight and other and Calais in practice, he got better every week, and I think next year he'll be ready to play.
What about today's quarterback?
Quarterbacks, the only way to learn is play. I'm not a guy that, now I say that we might draft one who's going to hold a clipboard for a year, but I don't believe in holding clipboards. You learn from practice. You have to get every snap. The trick with a young guy, especially if you're going to sit him for a year, is getting him enough practice work to where he's improving in your offense, not somebody else's offense. So when they're sitting there and not playing, it's very hard to develop them. Now, you may take a rough year, and today you don't get a year on your contract as a coach. You're going to get your ass fired, you know, trying to get this kid developed. And but that's a really fine line of taking one and playing him, or taking one and sitting him. In our situation, he'd sit for a year and hopefully be the future.
Coach, you talked before about trying to figure out how guys process information. Can you give us a little bit more insight into what you do to try to get a handle on that?
Yeah, even in these 15-minute interviews, you know, one of the things I want them to get up and give me their 2-minute offense. And every call, run me down the field in a drive in your 2-minute drill. And I can figure out a little bit about what he knows about his offense. Then in a longer interview, you put him on the board and give me your favorite play, 3rd and 5, the game's on the line, and what coverage you're anticipating. Things that are totally relevant to just that one position. And hopefully that gives you enough information after you do that enough times that the guy's smart enough to play.
Do you do that with all positions, not just quarterbacks?
We do it with all the positions, but quarterbacks extensively.
How does the quality of today's quarterbacks dominate here?
Corners. They're some of the greatest athletes to be out there right now. I mean, when you look at Patrick Peterson and some of these guys that are coming out at 6'1", running 4'4", the corner position, and they need to be, might be the most athletic position of all the sports. You know, I watch NBA a lot, and their guys are great athletes. But the corners, you know, Josh, Patrick, Richard, Darrell, they're all so athletic. They could play any position on the field. I mean, Pat could be one of the best receivers in the league if he wanted to be. Common sense. It wasn't a big problem 10 years ago. You know, then instant replay gotten so good with, you know, the ball moving this much. If is it a catch? Guy runs into the back of the wall in the end zone and drops the ball because he's about to break his neck. It's not a catch anymore. You know, I don't. 2 feet on the ground and in possession of the ball should be a catch. We already have. We've talked about it a bunch, and whether or not we act on it, we'll see. It looks like, from what I've seen so far, this is a good class. You know, whether or not it happens for us, we'll have to wait and see.
Has that changed over the years? Are you seeing prospects come in with more preparation for that?
Oh yeah. I mean, the agents have done a great job in the last 5 or 6 years of prepping them for every single question. I can't say what I ask because I probably get fined for it. You know, but I'll ask them stuff that's not in that book. I promise you, just to shake them up. And you want to see them shaking up a little bit and see how they recover.
Hey, Bruce, you talked about the skill set in the NC quarterback. What about the character and personality? How much can you really find out in different
I mean, you can, if there's a history, you can identify the history and get an explanation for it. I always use Tyron as an example. He knew he made a mistake. He owned up to his mistake. He had a plan on how he was going to go future. And so you knew he was on the right path. Not sitting there making excuses about why it happened, blaming somebody else. Then you know it's a pattern of behavior then that's going to happen.
Bruce, you've got so many ways to evaluate these players, these prospects now. How much do the drills on the field here matter?
In some positions they do. You know, for linemen, some movement skills help, but you know they got to hit people to see. In the bench press, they don't play with their haunches are where their strength is, where they're in the line of scrimmage. So I'd rather see them do 50 squats than 50 bench presses, you know. But I lost that battle a long time ago. Play at home. You know, it's a lot easier playing at home and win one more game, 2 more games, whatever it takes to play at home. I still can't figure out why we played so poorly. We were down 10 points. It felt like 50 on the sideline, and we had never panicked all year. But you grow as a team. Each year you grow a little bit more. Yeah, at this level, it's very, very hard to change their stroke. It's like taking a PGA golfer and teaching him a new swing. I mean, he got there because of the swing. Now you may tweak it a little bit, but for to say you're going to take a guy in the first round and then change his stroke, why? I mean, you drafted him for a reason, you know. But to me, the quarterback position is just about one thing. That's processing information really fast. If you can process it, I don't care how weak your arm is or how strong your arm is, you'll get the ball to the receiver at the right spot, the right time. And if you can't process information, you're going to wait to see him open, and you're going to throw a lot of interceptions. Oh, I hope so. I'd love to have everybody back. I know they all want to come back. That's up to Steve and the agents, you know. But we love to have them all back. Thanks, guys.
NFL Draft Bible on location.